I'm talking to Bart Peaslee, real estate broker in Vail, Colorado. He started out as a developer. As he was a developer, he transitioned into a broker. He talks about why he did it, the challenges he faced in the transition, and how he overcame them and became a top real estate agent. Thanks for listening to the Jere Metcalf Podcast, where top real estate agents tell how they do it. This podcast is to share knowledge for realtors and raise awareness for Give Back Homes, where real estate professionals work together for social good. Jet Centers Aviation, Bentley Atlanta, Legends Global, thank you for your sponsorship. Everybody, welcome to the Jere Metcalf Podcast. I am so excited today. We've got Bart Peaslee interviewing with us from Vail, Colorado. Obviously, it's sunny and bright in Vail, Colorado with his awesome hat and sunglasses. Bart, tell us a little more about yourself and how you got into real estate.
Well, let's talk.
And tell us about this outfit.
First, this sunglasses. I'm going to Hawaii on the 26th. And that's what the sunglasses and hats are all about.
You're prepared.
Where I lived years. In fact, that's where I first had my original career in real estate.
Oh, wow. So you started in Hawaii how many years ago? Or what year was it?
About 35 years ago.
Great. Wow. Okay, so you got into real estate, and I don't think so now you're with Sotheby's International Realty, and at the time, Sotheby's International Realty didn't exist. So I think you started in investments.
No, we started with our local companies there. So when I took my real estate class, the professor pulled me aside, about 4 of us from the class, and he said, okay, you guys are my next people that are coming into my company.
Wow, okay.
He got to cherry pick the new people because he was teaching them. And so that's how I first got into the business, was by being pulled in by my instructor.
Oh, that's brilliant. So you got pulled in by your instructor, and so you started with a small company in Hawaii. Was it a local company or a big company, or what was your world like when you got into this?
So the world this is Hawaii. So we're talking 35 years ago. So Hawaii was a really small world in a big ocean.
Wow, exactly. And how did you know? How did you know that you're in Hawaii on this little island in this big ocean? Why real estate? What transpired that got you in that put you on that path?
So the first job I had in Hawaii was a pedicab driver. So those people that have the 3-wheel bikes that take you down Kulakau Avenue and point out things to you and things like that. And then a gentleman heard me, and he said, I'd like you to come work for us in our timeshare business. And so I got into timeshare, and in those days, it was, how do we say this? Not really the style and quality of people that I wanted to be around.
Oh, wow, okay.
So, but I said, listen, I'm going to get my real estate license. So I got my real estate license while I was a driver for the Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud limousine service. And that would be a great way to get clients.
Foreshadowing luxury already with the Rolls-Royces.
Yeah, we want to start up here.
Right.
So, and so then I did a couple of things during that time and with a couple of companies. And once again, I was hired to work with a development company called Charles Pankow and Associates. Mm-hmm. They were the biggest developer in Hawaii at that time. And so they were looking for someone to help them coordinate with the other realtors who had a good reputation and, could present the property to everybody. So I became their marketing person. And in those days, it was so hot that I rented what's called the Blaisdell Arena, which was where the concerts are. And we set up a stage and we built a big mock-up of the condominiums. And then we had a big wheel, and everybody's name who wanted to be an owner was in that wheel, and we spun the wheel.
Oh,
we filled it.
Fun.
When your name came out, you came running down, put your name
oh my gosh.
That place in the condo, and that was your condo.
That's brilliant marketing. I love it.
The place was just crazy. Oh, there they go. Go, girl, go.
And were these like high-end luxury condos or?
condos.
Wow. That's insane. That's so much fun. So you had a lot of fun doing that.
Well, it was a great time. Everybody was jazzed. It kept the energy going. So that was really great until interest rates hit 15. United Airlines went on strike.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly we were fighting to keep people on board.
Wow. Okay.
And I've been in this business so long. I've seen these big roller coasters. At that time, Jerry, we were doing triple escrows. You'd go to the closing, and the property was changing 3 times.
So you were flipping it 3 times in one closing. Wow. I've done that once, and that was in 2006, maybe 5, before everything went down. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. So people were signing contracts all over the place. So, but at that time, you were working for a developer, and then you decided to become was it when the recession hit that you had the crazy idea to become a real estate agent?
It was just before. I mean, everything was go-go.
Okay.
So it was like the markets were here in 05, 06, 07, just building up to the peak. And then they were in for a long rebuilding in Hawaii. And I said, you know what? I've been here for 10 years. I think I want to start going back east again. So I saw interest rates were dropping. I had a couple of choices. I could become a stockbroker because I had my Series 7 securities license, or I could go into lending because interest rates are dropping. Everybody's going to refinance.
Right.
Your book of business is going to be your telephone. People are calling in. So I got the name of some of the developers I'd worked with in Hawaii. And I said, give me the name of a good lender that I would really enjoy working with. So they gave me the name of this fellow. His name was Herb Tasker, and his company had just been taken over by Weyerhaeuser Mortgage. And so they were number 2 lender in the nation. And so I came in and talked to him. I sent him, in those days, FedEx was still a pretty big deal. I sent him a FedEx envelope saying I was coming in with my testimonial and I'd like to talk to him. So I came in, I met with him. His secretary said, you've got about 15 minutes. Herb's got to go catch a plane. I said, fine, I appreciate his time. I was there probably about an hour talking to him.
Wow. So what did you do to keep him an hour?
So I listened to what he wanted. Mm-hmm. And then I told him how I would get it for him.
Well, that's probably what you have done in every listing presentation since. And that was in lending.
That was in lending. So I was a lender and I was doing remodeling at the same time in the Bay Area. And then when things were starting to get dicey and we saw the market going up and appraisers were having trouble, meeting the appraisals, of course, the lenders see that first. Mm-hmm. And they hear the questions, Bart, I don't think we can make this, oh, you can squeeze it in. Let me give you a comp. I'm going to call him. And it was a tough market. And at that time, Colorado was now revolving back up from a drop in oil prices and technology. And the Resolution Trust Corporation came out. And my good friend, Mr. Volker, said, sell it all. I want you to have this inventory done and out of the banks by X date. So I pulled into Colorado as a buyer. And I was buying half-built projects, raw land that had been already designated.
So wait, we've skipped over. You were a lender
when I was in San Francisco Bay Area. Okay. And I came to Colorado.
You came to Colorado as an investor. Now, are you an investor for you, or are you an investor for a company, or who were you investing for? Just to help us draw a picture of this.
For Mr. Peaslee.
Okay, so that was for you.
That was me, yes.
Okay.
And so when I got into Colorado, I met a lot of people that were big-time developers and stuff. This one guy had his suspenders on, and he had his penthouse. And he said, well, listen, I don't know what you can do for me, son. I've done a lot of big deals here. And I said, I've heard this from a number of people here in this town. Mm-hmm. And I think there are big deals done in Hong Kong and New York and San Francisco. I'm not sure if there are that many big deals done here. So
you said that. Yeah.
My company is BFD.
Wait.
Big
Big blank deal.
Yes. And so, but when I went to the lenders, it was called Bartlett Finance and Development.
I love it. That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, how fun.
So that's what I was doing. I was buying up these projects, and then I would sell them to small builders who didn't have the ability to bite off the whole thing. So I'd sell 4 or 5 of the lots here and here and here, and then they were all gone.
And that's where when you're selling these properties, you're basically buying big properties, splitting them up and selling them out. Brilliant. And is that when you got your license to sell real estate, or?
No, because that was just me.
Right. Yeah.
So then when that went away, because that all went away pretty quickly, friends, I had a house both in Denver and up here in the Vail Valley. My realtor friends here said, Bart, you know the business as well as we do. Why don't you just get your license? And I said, oh, okay. So I went and got my license. And then the question is, now how do you get business? I've always been a buyer.
Right. So now how did you,
sell.
Right.
So what I did is the high-end brokers don't like to do open houses. Mm-hmm. So I did open houses for the brokers. And again, I consider that a chance to do an interview.
Exactly. Well, you're always being interviewed. We're always being interviewed. And we're being hired before we know it and interviewed before we know it. And that's what you did.
That's right. And so that's how I built my business up.
Wow, that's incredible. And that was probably, I think, everybody does open houses. Open houses are common in Atlanta, but I would wonder how were they, what year was that you got your license and you were doing the open houses?
I had my license already. You had to have had
it. Right. That's what I meant. So you got your license and then you started doing the open houses. What year did you get your license?
I don't know. I can't. So 90, I came in. I was doing that for 2 or 3 years. So it would have been probably 93.
Okay. So open houses were pretty common back then, I think, or not, or just to compare the. Yeah. What's that?
I'm a resort market.
Okay. So exactly. Exactly.
Right? If you were to walk outside my office here in Beaver Creek, you this wonderful rippling river going by, and there's this little covered bridge above us, and it's so serene.
Are you trying to make me jealous because it's working?
And then you walk into the center of the village, and it's still serene because there's nobody there. So we're dead. We're dead right now.
Wow.
So we have big seasons.
So you have what, 6 months on, 6 months off?
3s and 3s.
Okay. So you have 2 seasons a year?
Yeah. 3 months where it's soft and on either side.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So when it's time to work, it's time to work. Wow.
And this is the one thing about resort real estate that is so different from suburban or urban real estate. Our clients are not coming from down the road, across the street, the town next door. They're coming from across the country, across the ocean, other side of the world. And they're coming here for a week, once a year.
So, wow. So here's a question. Your business, when you've got so many people coming who aren't locals, how do you know most of your clients before they become clients, or are they referred, or do you win them when they get to Colorado, or how does that process look for you?
Well, so there's a couple of developmental questions in what you asked. So a lot of my clients are referral clients. And Sotheby's, fortunately, has a great brand and has a great reach. And so we get some feeder from there. Liz Sotheby's, which is who I'm with, is the number 1 company in the Sotheby's complex now. We did over $4 billion last year.
Wow, that's huge. Yeah. How many agents are at Liv Sotheby's?
Oh, in total, I think we have 750. No, that's how many we have brokers in the valley. I'm not sure how many Liv is. So it's a pretty small number.
Okay.
They just a breakdown of the top 500 real estate companies. Sotheby's was number 25, which is pretty good because the companies above have as many as 25,000 agents.
Exactly.
in the hundreds, not
Yeah.
in the thousands.
Yeah. That's huge. That's huge. So let me ask you this. I would think, and I have heard, that in Vail, everybody has a real estate license. So is that true? Is it pretty competitive there?
Well, actually, we're down from where we were. We're around 700 now.
Okay.
It just seems like everybody has because we're such a small village.
Exactly.
I mean, the Vail Valley is really a village.
So in a village to have 700, that's a lot. So basically, in my mind, that's just a lot of competition. So with a lot of competition, how do you manage to stand out among the competition and do so well and do so much business? That's the hat.
No, not the hat. But
right, connecting with people.
One thing that I've learned over the time and doing television interviews and such, and going and listening to speakers, is that the content is not necessarily what people remember.
Mm-hmm.
They remember the personality.
Mm-hmm.
Did you connect with them?
Mm-hmm.
Did you understand? Did it sound like you were speaking to them, like we were talking in the interviews when I'm in the open houses? I know I'm being interviewed for a job. They may not know that they're interviewing me, but I know they are.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's important. And really, I mean, people come away from a conference, they go, hey, I got one great idea, but I really like the speaker.
Yeah.
So we'll go back to them again. But they sat there for 4 hours and they got one idea.
Well, as long as it's one really good one, you only need one. You only need, but you're right.
But they remember the speaker if they did a connection. And,
well,
all kinds of speakers. And what a good speaker understands is there are all kinds of minds. And so where you lose somebody in the audience is where you're picking up another personality. You're picking up the engineer person because now you're into numbers. Mm-hmm. You're picking up the feeling person because you're talking about lifestyle. So
which I've noticed you do a lot of. Mm-hmm.
You have to mix it all in. And when you're with people, you have to watch their body language to see which one is resonating. No, wait a minute. This guy. Okay, so this is how many times this has been rented in the last couple of years. This is the percentage of rent that you get to keep. This is how often the big tourists come, and you cannot come during those times if you want to make money.
Right.
Have you been here in the fall? These colors, they just warm your heart. They just, you can go out on the deck and every morning look up and say, oh, there's another one that just turned yellow. Oh, look. Oh, now this one's dropping. Oh, wow. You know what I mean? They're different personalities.
Well, people remember how you make them feel. They don't remember what you say. They don't remember what you do, but they remember how you make them feel.
Exactly.
And it's all about, even if it's a number, even if it's a numbers guy and these quote unemotional people, they're numbers guys because that data makes them feel good. They're getting comfort from that. You made them feel good when you gave them what they wanted. I mean, that may be making it a little too basic, but I think even when they're not emotional, those are often the most emotional, and those numbers are what help them resonate and understand how to make decisions. When what is it? People use logic to make emotional decisions or to justify emotional decisions. I'm not quite saying that right, but I think we get it.
I understand what you're saying.
So yeah,
there's also a delivery to the number person. It's not just doing the numbers; it's saying them like you know them.
Confidence.
So this is what it rents for. Now, this is what it rents for. The difference?
Oh, huge.
I know the numbers. Count on me. You're gonna believe me the next time I told you something because I know my numbers.
Well, people need somebody who knows their stuff. They need somebody who's confident, and they need somebody to represent them that way. So it's huge. What is I'm going to shift a little bit here. So your edge is really your ability to communicate. Well, on that, I've seen your interviews on television. A lot of what I think you're passionate about, and especially being in a resort community, a lot of your success is your ability to sell lifestyle, ability to help people understand what they're buying, because they're buying lifestyle in Vail. I mean, that's what they're there for. And in that, on these TV, well, I've got 5 questions in my head at once. I'm going to decide which one to ask you any minute now. First, you've got sources of income. You've got referrals. You've got ways you market. You probably give us a little bit of that. And the one I'm most interested in is TV, but I want a good picture of what you're doing besides the TV interviews.
So because I've been in this business for quite a while and I've had referrals, my referral base has gotten older, and so it's also smaller. And I just realized after watching Aaron Pearson talk about how his business.
Love Aaron Pearson on a formal interview on the podcast. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. But so tell us what you got from him.
So it reaffirmed what I've been following up on, and that is you've got to up your technology. And, well, here's what I say. So there's 2 things that hold realtors back. One is they look for their comfort zone, and then they stay there.
And that's the first step to stagnation.
And then they get complacent, and time passes by. Technology passes by. Their clients pass by, and they're still staying in the comfort zone, and they're complacent. So they're not motivated. They're not looking for new ideas. They're not keeping up, and their business is going to fall apart.
And that is, I think that's especially if you're up and coming or you're looking to get to the next level, that is the best opportunity to get into the luxury or to break into a market is those agents that have been there. They get a little bit entitled is kind of a strong word, but it's a good one. Or a little bit too comfortable, and they start expecting the business and stop working for it. And that's where you step in and take over. So tell us about the TV. How did that work out? Was that an idea you had, or somebody came to you, and do you generate a lot of business out of that? Or is it more of you get a lot of referrals, and because you have the television presence, it establishes credibility so you easily win the business? Or does it go both?
It's a little bit of everything, Jared. I was asked to do it by my former company, and because they were looking for someone that wouldn't freeze up on TV. And that hasn't been my problem.
And they knew you would be the guy. I mean, you show up in sunglasses and a hat going to Hawaii.
So, and then I looked at it and I said, following what people are doing, I mean, importance is getting out in the social media, but not just getting out. What is the content you're sending out? So if you go back to what we first talked about, interview and connection, that's what the TV interview for me had to do so that I could then post it out. So not so much that someone's going to call me ever from that TV ad.
But it's the content creation.
Yes, I'm going to build content. I'm going to build stories. One of the reasons that they like me at the TV station is I don't go on and say, oh, this is my new listing. Look here, kitchen, bathroom, closets. And I always pick a topic for my interviews. What's the importance of staging, which we call repositioning the house, because staging has gotten to have such a negative term.
Staging means fake, phony, all that good stuff. Yeah. Interesting.
How do you buy property? By the square foot is not the answer, especially in a real estate. And so I go through examples of how that, and it's really obvious that, square footage is not how you do it. It doesn't work.
Exactly.
It is the last thing on the appraiser's list.
So tell us a little bit about that now that you've gotten on that topic of appraisals. How do you price houses?
So I price houses by going into them and then looking at the comps, what's sold, what's on the market, what's the trend. Because, and here's the example. In the Vail Valley, if you're familiar with it, there is a highway that runs through the Vail Valley. And everything on the north side is hillside, and everything on the south side is where the ski slopes are. So if you walk into a condominium building that's built on a parallel, and you're walking down the hall, and you have 2,000 square feet on the left side, which is the north side, 2,000 square feet on the right, which is the ski slope side with the view, same square footage, same finishes, they are not the same price. Square footage goes right out the window.
Mm-hmm.
View is most important here. Location
Okay.
is important to people. So our pricing is based on a whole
Interesting.
complex system of numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Just like an appraiser who says, oh, 3 chimneys, 3 fireplaces, that's a plus, no fireplace, that's a minus. Just as they go down the checklist,
Mm-hmm.
we as realtors go down our checklist. This has got
Mm-hmm.
good location, this has got good furniture, this will have good rents, this is ski in, ski out, this is close to the village, this is far from the village. And each one of those also has a different meaning to each buyer because they don't all want the same thing.
Exactly.
So, this is 2 ears, 1 mouth.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm having an interview with someone, Jere,
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle first, then structure, then strategic planning on how to approach negotiating.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the steps here.
Exactly.
I know your lifestyle. I let you paint the picture, and then I frame it.
Exactly.
And then
well, they
go
live
to
it.
sheets and we analyze, and then we go, boom, this is where we're going.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, that's well, and it starts with listening first and letting them tell you what they want and need first, what we started this whole interview with. Since you've been a real estate agent, what's a good example for what's been one of your big ahas? You know, people come into this business thinking that they're going to get a license and their friends are going to list their houses with them and they're going to make a lot of money and it's going to be really easy. And there's so many ahas to be had. What's a good one you can give us that you've had?
Well, one of the things that I saw is that brokers would fall in and out of this crazy business because there's so many emotional highs and lows.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that great showing. I know we're going to write a contract. Then they go home, and then you call them and you try to follow up, and then all of a sudden, oh, Bart, we saw this thing online and we worked with the broker and we just closed. Oh, it's such a great deal.
Oh God, it's like if you weren't manic depressive coming into it, you might come out that way. That's a terrible thing to say, but it is, yeah.
So what I found is that there's 2 things that'll keep you from going crazy in this business.
What are they? 2 things to keep you from going crazy in the real estate business.
Proper communication.
Mm-hmm.
Measure your expectations.
And how do you measure your expectations? Do you build a pipeline or?
Well, expectation is not so much, it's a state of mind
Mm-hmm.
rather than a business thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is by not going crazy. So let's say this is our interview we're having here. There are certain things you want to cover.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain things I want to cover. Unless we come together,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to smash. So I have to listen to what you would like to present
Mm-hmm.
and you listening to me in how I present so that we come to a really nice funnel.
And I bet you do that with all of your sellers and all of your buyers. And what percentage of your business is sellers and what percentage is buyers?
Mostly buyers.
And why is that? Is that just because there's such an influx into Vail, or?
For me, I connect with those people because, I know they're, obviously we talk to them and find out if they are buyers.
Right.
Because and I've done this on TV. There's shoppers and there's buyers. There's owners.
Especially in your market. I bet there are a lot more shoppers in your market than mine.
Yeah. Percentage-wise, the shoppers, there are more shoppers than there are buyers that come through our doors. We have walk-ins here in the office in a resort community. And you have to flush out pretty fast.
Mm-hmm. And how do you do that? Do you have a system for that, or?
You ask questions. And you listen to the questions that they ask.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, yeah.
It's not just, oh, this was pretty. But they say, what's going to be best for my family?
Right.
Well, I'll say, so Jere, how old are your children? How good of a skier are they? Does your wife ski? Does your husband ski? Where do they like to ski? And now we're getting, entwined.
Mm-hmm.
And the more entwined they get, the more opportunities do I have to find out how serious they are. Because a lot of them have looked online. They've got some idea of what's pretty to them. Mm-hmm. And pretty isn't really what they end up buying. It's pretty and practical.
Exactly. And it suits their lifestyle and what they want to spend. But it's, you really hone in on lifestyle, and that's in your market especially, but I think in every market, there's a lot of focus on what the house is and the number of bedrooms and bathrooms and all of that. But none of that counts if people live in homes for lifestyle. And people buy homes. I think even I think the reason why buyers are liars is because they even are forgetting the lifestyle that they're looking for. And when they buy the wrong house, it's usually because it didn't suit the lifestyle that makes them happy.
So here's a perfect example. I had a client that came to me, and I sent him information, and he said he looked at it online. He said, "Oh, I really like this, and this is a really cool one." Mm-hmm. I said, "So now do you want to hear the details?" Mm-hmm. Well, they have a restaurant there, and it's so popular that there are weddings that go on all the time in the summer. The number one complaint by the owners in the complex is that it's noisy in the summer because there's so many weddings. Mm-hmm. Number two, your garage, which is enclosed, is really outside. You have to go outside of the building, down some stairs, walk over to the garage department, which is a series of bay doors, and everybody's is open to everybody. There's nothing sectioned off or private about your space. Mm-hmm. You can ski in, but you can't ski out. Mm-hmm. And the dues are extremely high, and the rentals over there are low. And he went, I could see the look in his face, even though he wasn't there. It's like, I would have never known all this.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you get. I mean, so if you'd like to look at pictures, go get a National Geographic.
Yeah.
Because they'll both do you equal amount of good.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly.
You need facts when you come here.
All right, so I got another question. This is kind of on the aha, but if there's one thing you wish you knew, and you kind of came into this business knowing a lot already, but you did come in as a buyer, so you were your own, or you were a buyer, so even though you weren't licensed, you were your own client, so you had that perspective. But then even in that, you get in the business, you don't have any clients, and you had to win them. First, give us, because I don't know if we really got into that, how did you find, let's really narrow this down. How did you get your first client?
It was open houses.
So was it, but is there a story you can give us? I don't want to dig into it if there's not a fun story for us there, but it's just you met a good one and it kind of panned out, or...
Right.
So my next question is, what is one thing, or if you have three, that you wish you knew when you became a realtor that you know now?
I wish I knew Aaron Pearson.
I can't wait to tell him that. He's going to love that. He is awesome, isn't he?
I wish I'd known. I would have liked him for my mentor.
Yeah. And he's not even a real estate agent. He's just a really good brander. And so on Aaron Pearson, why do you say that? What was it about what Aaron said on our interview that stuck out to you that makes you say that?
Well, it was how he used social media to Zoom. Mm-hmm. And of course, that didn't exist when I first got into the business. But the recent things that I've learned, mm-hmm. Okay. Matterport. Are you familiar with Matterport?
Yes, with the video, and you could basically do a 3D virtual tour.
So how do you make that in my business really stand out? Well, what I do is, Jere, here's a great property. I know you can't fly out here today, but how about if I gave you a personal walkthrough in your own home tomorrow?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to Federal Express you a pair of goggles and a telephone, mm-hmm. and on it's going to be this presentation. And you can see the whole thing from your house.
And that's good. There's going to be a lot more of that soon. And for your market, you might be busy right now too. You might be busy year round when you start doing that, because people don't need to be there to tour the homes, which is incredible.
Here's an example. I'm going down to Denver tomorrow, mm-hmm. on my way to Hawaii. And I'm going to be meeting with a broker down there. She has a client that is extremely important to her.
Mm-hmm.
He's a billionaire, which we hear all the time up here.
Mm-hmm.
She feels she has to be involved. And so I'm going to take down what is called a video tour on a gimbal with my cell phone. Have you heard of those gimbals?
I have not.
So
Gimbal, what is that?
you take your cell phone and you put it into the gimbal and you walk around and
Okay.
you do a picture of the whole thing, up and down. It'll do a 360, all of those things. So I'm going to come down and show that and say to her, I know your client doesn't have a lot of time. Why don't you come up for the day? The houses that you like, we'll do a walkthrough. You can take that back, show to your client. He can choose what he wants to come up and see.
Okay.
His time is cut. Boom.
So what is the gimbal though? Is that an app? Is it a device that you put on the phone or?
It's a device.
Okay.
You put it into that device, and the gimbal is what keeps it from being jerky. It's what you see on the.
Okay.
It's the same thing that's on a drone, but now it's put on a handheld. So I can walk through and go up and down 360 without it being jerky. I mean, it's amazing.
Wow. That's
great
incredible. My videographers better not hear about this or they're going to be worried about losing their jobs.
So what else can you do with this? Well, Bart, I really want to see it firsthand. Okay, let's do FaceTime. You come to me and you FaceTime me on the phone and I'm going to walk through the whole building.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people do this now, but they do this with their cell phone and it's real jerky.
Right.
The point of the gimbal is it makes it smooth like a movie.
That's
And
great,
so,
which makes a huge difference for the viewer.
yeah, makes a lot more.
So I would say that might be your favorite tool in real estate. What
Yeah, I
about
love-
what as far as technology, because obviously you really like to stay on the cutting edge with that. You've got the gimbal and you can video houses even though people aren't with you, and Matterport. What is the best, or do you use a CRM? A lot of people are just using Google Docs these days.
So I'm talking to a new company. You may have heard of them, called Chime,
Okay. I don't think I have.
about building a website with a CRM for me. 'Cause
Okay.
I'm still old school for my CRM.
Okay. Well, you know,
I'm trying-
everybody is. You wouldn't believe how many of these guys I interview who are doing over 100 million a year with a team, and like Sotheby, Google Docs. Matt, oh gosh, I'm forgetting Matt's name. But anyway, Google Docs. Agent in New York City, Google Docs. It's amazing. So I'm still asking everybody for the best CRM, see if I can figure it out.
Well, and one thing I just did too is I just bought a lead generation from some friends of mine who had used it.
Okay.
And I bought it because,
Now, this is lead generation, not a CRM, but this is for lead generation. I'm curious to hear about this one. Okay, so why did you buy it?
So I said, okay, you guys are tired of doing this, and now you're in Oregon, you're not here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I will buy this from you
Mm-hmm.
for X amount of dollars, and you will get paid a certain percentage out of each commission that comes in from the sale.
So you bought a lead generation from someone that was already in business in your market? Genius. That was smart. And these guys in Oregon, where in Oregon are they?
They're in Bend.
Because I need an agent in Florence. Just if
But they're out of business now.
okay.
They're
I
out.
need an agent in Florence, Oregon. I'm going to find one today. But on the topic of Oregon, maybe we'll have one on the podcast by then. So
So the advantage for me was, first of all, it's been proven. I know they've had 150,000 a year just come in from just this. It's not really costing me anything up front. If it doesn't work out,
and which lead generation system is that? Which one is it that they're using?
it's called House Hunt.
Okay, I think I've heard of that one, House Hunt. You've got Chime. I'm going to write these down. Except I bet Isaac, are you writing these down for me? I bet something tells me he is. I like to give Isaac a hard time. He's our producer, as you know. So Chime, I'm going to, because lead generations, that's never been my forte. Mine's always been, like you said, connecting with people, relationships, referrals, and the marketing just is, some of it's just fun. It builds credibility. It gives me an ability to get more exposure for my listings. So I always find that the strong relationships work so much better than a lead on the internet. So I'm still trying to figure that one out.
So that's where this customer that I was just talking about came from just recently. He lives in Hillsborough, California, and he came in off of this house hunt, and he's going to come out this weekend, but I told him I was going to be in Hawaii.
You told him you were going to be on the Jere Metcalf podcast, and you were going to be way too busy and involved with that to meet a billionaire buyer. That's what you told him, right?
Oh, that's the truth. Yes, yeah.
Right, that was it. You can admit it. So wait, go ahead.
So when I'm done with this deal, it's big enough that I will have paid for the whole lead generation company in one deal. So in the end, it cost me one deal. And I know there's going to be a stream coming in here. I'm still modifying it because I don't think they used it to its full optimization. But they were the original people 7 years ago that they came in with House Hunt. So they got all of the 3 top zip codes in my market. And so nobody else can get them.
That's great, yeah.
If they broke it up, the company now would sell all 3 of those separately and at a much higher dollar than what it was originally going in.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I made money day one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's great. I'm not kidding. I want to hear how that works out for you, because that's one I've never gone that avenue yet. So, teams, we have not tapped, and we've got just a few minutes left, but I do want to know, I haven't asked you about teams yet. Are you a one-man show? Do you have a team? If you have it, or what's your support system in selling so much real estate in Vail?
Well, so one of the fortunate things about Live Sotheby's is have a huge support system within it. So I don't have one outside of that. I'm looking at growing that. I have what's called the Bartlett Group, and it's always been that to start with, so that I can be as big or as small as I ever wanted to be. I've seen, at one time I was with Keller Williams.
I was too.
One of my clients. So
wait, Gary Keller was one of your clients?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, cool.
So I mean, I'd get to ski with him, and I'd get to learn what he's doing firsthand, and he's a brilliant man. It's just just didn't quite work for me right here in this marketplace. But I saw, being with Keller Williams, all these people that built teams and then unbuilt them, trying to find where the perfect match is. So I decided I'm going to be able to build it by naming it appropriately, and it doesn't make any difference how big or small it is.
Exactly. And it goes back to, it's all about how can you help your client and what can you do for them and your ability to service them, not about you and what you've got, but about what that you're taking care of them. So that's great. So I don't want to leave anything out. My last question, I've got one more question for you, which is going to be the one thing you want to take our listeners to take from this. Before I ask you that, is there anything else that we should cover that you want to share that I haven't asked you yet that we can get from all of your years of success?
Well, not unless you have another hour.
I knew that. That's the problem. I know we may have to do this again. So what is, of everything we've covered, what's the one thing that you want everybody to take from this?
You know, I think that really the key to success in your business, one of the things is communication, again, that we didn't go back into. And communication means when you're talking to your producer, Jere, you want to make sure he understands what you are imagining in your head, because he can't get in there. That he is imagining it, but that he understands it. A lot of times we think people will get into our heads just by osmosis, and then they go interpret what we say, and you don't do a check. Now, what does that mean to you? How does that look, what I just said?
Exactly right.
No, that's not quite right. So let me change my words. I got to use different words.
And that ask the right questions to make sure that happens. What you just said, asking, what does that mean to you? To make sure you're communicating.
What does that mean to you? And in interviews, I say, does that make sense to you? That's always a question I ask. Does that make sense? Is that clear? And if I see them, oh yeah, that means no. They didn't. They're just saying yes to be complacent and
exactly
down the line.
Exactly.
Really understand the ramifications of what we said. Ramifications. No, what does that mean?
Ramifications is a good word, because ramifications is true that
Right.
so often. Yeah.
Urgency in my life does not create an emergency in anybody else's.
Mm-hmm.
And brokers think it does. My client just came into town. I need to get access to this house today.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side says, no. Yes, I have. No. The owners are there. The
Right.
owners make as much money as your clients do. They're not just going to let you walk in. No.
Right.
Oh, but they're big clients. They're so no.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
It's not an emergency in their life. They would like to sell the house, but not enough to be disturbed on a daily basis by calls like this.
Love it. Exactly.
So you have to make sure your clients are communicated with. You hear them, they hear you. We're saying, perfect example. And we were working with transaction with a broker, and we weren't getting it. I knew there was something. So I went up to her office and I said, Paige, I just don't think there's enough face-to-face communication. So let's just walk through this again and see where we are with our client. She was way off in understanding about what I said. Way off. Oh, but this changes everything. I thought it might. That's why I wanted to come up and just sit down and talk to you and see if we could really get back on the same page, and made all the difference in the world.
Wow. Wow, that's huge. It's so easy in our worlds to assume that everybody understands what we're saying, and they just don't, and we just have to realize that. So there are two. The first one's communication, and you shared the second one with us, but what's the second one again?
The second was expectations.
The expectations.
Manage your expectations. A speaker come in and he said he'd done a lot of projects, and he was a funny guy too. And he said, people know when you look at them with the look that says, you have my money in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
The deal can't mean more to you than it does to the client.
Absolutely not. You are absolutely right. Well, what needs to mean everything to you is that the client, whatever those results are, the client's getting the results they're looking for, not the results you're looking for. It's not about there should be no results you're looking for, except what they want.
How many deals that I told clients I wouldn't do? I said, this is not right for you.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I will write this if you force me to, but this is not the house for you. So let's figure out.
I've done that. Yeah.
Right.
I've taken my client from an inspection and said, you're not excited. Let's just go look one more time. This is what you can, are you sure? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even though I could close this tomorrow, you've got to be happy. That's the point. Exactly. And
I had a great testimonial from a lady who owns a lending company in Denver. In fact, she's across the country. She's big smoke, as they say up here. Big smoke. And her comment back to Scott, the owner of our company, was, I've never worked with anybody that cared as much as Bart does.
That's the best testimony you could get. That's huge. Wow. Bart, I think we're going to finish on that, because that's couldn't have been in one sentence. That's it. That's awesome. So let's tell everybody how we can get in touch with you: phone number, email, website.
Sure.
Or one of the above, whatever's the best.
Right. So my website currently is Epic Vale Real Estate, which goes right to our Sotheby's real estate. And so it's not my personal one, it's our company one, lives Sotheby's. And one thing that's probably most interesting is if you go to my Facebook business page, which is called Vale Valley Living, where you'll see posted some of my interviews, interesting things that are happening, mountain closing, new restaurants, things like that. This is one of the new things that I've just started, so I'm building that up.
Oh, great.
This is a great thing for your entrepreneurs and your realtors. Get a business page, which is different than a personal. On
Facebook. Oh, because you can boost and everything. Exactly. And target market, all of that good stuff.
I paid $80 and I got 30,000 presentations and actually 15,000 people looking
That's incredible. And for every view, every 1,000 views equals one showing. So awesome. Well, Bart, thank you so much. Well, I need your phone number, and then I want your phone number. Not that I don't have it, but I want our listeners to have it.
I want you.
I've got your phone number. But tell us your phone number and we can close this out. What's that?
970-331-3083. And my email is Bart, B-A-R-T, at link2, Vail.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you. We'll also have a podcast page we'll send out for Bart, and all that information will be there as well. Bart, thank you so much for your time. This was great.